Hello students, I'm here with another video from the chapter of class 10th Science NCERT book, that is Life Processes. Now before starting today's video, I would like to tell you all that till now what all things we have discussed in this chapter. So children, we have discussed about the process of nutrition, which means that it is a way by which any organism is obtaining its food. It is any organism is obtaining its the energy from the food. So it is a complete process by which any organism is taking the food inside its body, and then what happens inside the body, it is getting converted into the smaller portions. So when the body of an organism is able to make those small pieces, or it could convert it is going to convert that complex substance into the simpler substance, and now it becomes ready, it is ready for the absorption in the body in the form of energy. So this energy generation from the food that is termed to be as the nutrition. Okay, so we have to study we have already studied about the word nutrition in the case of plants. So plants, there are nutrition is of two types. That is, one is the autotrophic mode of nutrition, in which the plants are only able to make its food. And then we have studied about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, which means that it is a process by which any other organism which is if we are talking about the plants, then these are the non-green plants, or they are partially green, and if they are not able to synthesize the food which is not sufficient for that particular plant's body, then it has to be dependent upon the other body of other organisms, such as in saprophytes, they are dependent upon the other decaying organic matter. Similarly, if the organism is parasite, or it is a parasitic plant, then it is dependent upon the host for its nutrition. Similarly, if both of them are living, they will be combining, they would be living together in the form of symbionts, and then this is known as symbiosis or symbiotic relationship. So we have studied two such symbiotic relationship where the lichen was formed because of the association of the algae as well as fungi. Similarly, if the bacteria are living, such as the rhizobium bacteria, which fixes nitrogen for the higher plants, that is going to be living in the association with the roots of the higher plants. So if the roots of the higher plants are going to give shelter and the food to those rhizobium, then what happens? It is going to provide the higher plants the nitrogen, and the deficiency of nitrogen could be overcome because of the presence of these rhizobium bacteria in the roots. Okay, so they have special structure called root nodules of the leguminous plants. So leguminous plants, they have a root inside in their roots, they have a particular nodulated structure, or it is a structure which has a mass of structure is there. A mass of cells are there which forms a tumor-like outgrowth, but it is actually the nodules. It is not the tumor, it is the nodules. It is a tissue which gives the place for these rhizobium bacteria to live. Okay. Now, what next is what we have studied was the heterotrophic mode of nutrition in the animals. So in the animals we were studying, so we have studied about amoebas nutrition, where the holozoic mode of nutrition we were studying, where ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion, these are the main basic steps of nutrition in the animals, whether it is a single-celled animal or it is a multicellular animal like human being. Okay, or it could be any animal, it could be the mammal, it could be any big animal also. Okay, so if we talk about the animals, the basic concept, the basic process of this nutrition, the steps would remain same. Okay, the steps would remain same. The basic step is not going to be changed. Okay, then after that we have also seen the process of in human beings. Okay, so in human beings, the process of nutrition is taken up by a system called digestive system. Okay, by a process called by a organ, or the parts of organs, or it is an organ system which is said to be as digestive system. Okay, so this is said to be as digestive system, and in human beings, this digestive system is also known to be as the alimentary canal, or it is also known as alimentary canal, or it is also known as gut. Okay, so these are the three names of the digestive system, which means that it is an alimentary canal, or it could be known to be as the gut. Okay, so this was about the basic idea of the alimentary canal or the human digestive system. Now this human digestive system, children, it consists of various organs, like it could be the mouth. It starts from mouth. Okay, then after the mouth we have esophagus, and this esophagus is also known to be as a food pipe. Then after that we have stomach, then it moves on to the small intestine, and then large intestine is there, and it ends in the anus. Okay, so it is a 9-meter long tube-like structure, that is why it is said to be as the alimentary canal. Canal itself means it is a tubular structure. It is a long tubular structure. Fine. Now next what we were studying was about the steps of nutrition in the human beings. So children, in the steps of human beings, we have already studied about ingestion. So this ingestion means it is a process of intake of food. Okay, intake of food. Now here what comes in matter is the teeth, tongue, okay, and then mouth. With the help of hands we are taking in the food, with the help of the mouth we are masticating the food. Yesterday we talked about the mastication also, and because of mastication the food is mixed with saliva, and this is said to be this is known by a new name which is said to be as bolus now. Okay, this is known as bolus. The name is going to be changed. The name changes. It is now said to be as bolus because food is mixed with saliva. Okay, the food is completely mixed with saliva in the mouth, and tongue helps in the mixing of the food. We have a set of teeth which is present in the mouth, and here what happens, the various organs, the various parts are present, including the teeth. Even the teeth is there. So this teeth, tongue, all these are responsible for the development of the bolus. Okay, so it helps in the formation of bolus inside the mouth. Now what happens if you all know the structure of teeth, because we have different types of teeth present in our mouth. That is the incisors, canines, premolars and molars. 4 types of teeth are there. So incisors, canine, premolars and molars. So please remember their names at least, and the functions of them. Fine, and the number. How many number of teeth are present in our mouth. Now next what we have to study was the digestion. So today's class would be completely we will be discussing about the digestion. Okay, we will be discussing about the digestion now. So the ingestion, after that the second step is the digestion. Okay, so in digestion actually what happens, the food is going to be mixed with different types of secretions. So there are various organs which are involved in digestion. So digestion starts from mouth, children. Okay, please remember that digestion, it starts from mouth. The starch digestion which starts from the mouth. So in human beings digestion begins from mouth. It begins from mouth. Fine. Now next what is there, because of the presence of the fact that the food starts when we start eating and it is present inside our mouth, then only the starch digestion starts. Now why this starts? This happens as follows. The mouth cavity or the buccal cavity. Please remember the name also. The new names are for mouth. We can say it is a buccal cavity. See children, cavity means space. So here mouth also has it has an empty space where we chew our food. Okay, so the place where we chew our food, that space is said to be as buccal cavity. So buccal cavity consists of teeth and the tongue. Okay, so mouth, inside the buccal cavity it contains teeth, tongue and salivary glands. So what are present inside the buccal cavity? Teeth, tongue and salivary glands. Okay, so these are the 3 things which are present inside our mouth. Now children, please remember that the salivary gland is a gland which secretes a secretion, which secretes a chemical which is known as enzyme. Okay, this enzymes helps, this speeds up the reaction of the digestion. Okay, now here what happens inside the mouth, the teeth is responsible for cutting and chewing off the food into smaller pieces. Then after that what happens, teeth also helps in the physical digestion. The salivary glands inside our mouth, they produce the enzymes, they produce a chemical called saliva, which contains salivary amylase. Also it contains an enzyme called ptyalin. This contains an enzyme called ptyalin, okay, T-I-A-L-I-N, P-T-I-A-L-I-N, okay, so P is silent over here. Next is that teeth, the wetted food is now swallowed easily. And yes, we have also studied about the movement by which the food is moving inside our food pipe. And then what happens, this movement of the food inside the food pipe is a physical process. It is a passive process actually, because there is no need of requirement, there is no requirement of the consumption of energy or the expenditure of energy. So no energy is required for this. If the food is present at just above the tube-like structure, it is going to move inside. It is going to move inside on its own. There is nobody to push, there is nobody to help that food to move inside. Only the passive movement is there. So there is no expenditure of energy currency, that is ATP. Okay, no energy is required for this peristaltic movement. And it is also known to be as peristalsis, because there is none other way to move that food inside the food pipe, because food pipe is such a thick, it is a thin pipe which has a very little space. So if the food has to go down, it has to be pushed on its own. So the muscles of this food pipe is going to push the food. It is going to be expanded once the food is present at the mouth, at the starting point of that esophagus, and then the walls of the esophagus is going to push it inside. Okay, then it contracts and the food is pushed. Again it expands and then it contracts. Again this expansion and contraction is continuously happening, and this is said to be as a peristaltic movement. Okay, next, what is there? This wetted food is more easily swallowed now. Many times it is observed that when we eat the food, our mouth starts watering. Okay, sometimes if we are eating our favorite food, then what happens? Our mouth starts watering, and it is also known as salivation. Okay, then salivation start. Because of the watering of the mouth, the presence of saliva on the salivary glands. Salivary gland is going to produce saliva, which is in the form of a watery substance, and that is why we say that our mouth starts watering. So that is nothing but it is the salivary activity of the salivary gland which produces saliva, and also it produces some enzyme. Okay, now what happens? The salivary gland helps in the chemical digestion by secretion of enzymes. The human saliva contains enzyme called salivary amylase. This is the new name. This is also known as salivary amylase. Okay, it is the name is continuously written, salivary amylase. It is not that it is written and the two words are not there. This is said to be as, this is a complete word, salivary amylase. Okay, so salivary amylase is present in the mouth, which is going to digest the starch. It digests the starch present and converts it in the form of the sugars. Okay, and converts the starch which is present in the food, it gets converted into sugar. So what is the first reaction? The first reaction is starch from food, it gets converted into sugar. Okay, and that in the presence of salivary amylase. Fine, so this is what is known to be as a first reaction, and here what happens, which takes place in the mouth. This is taking place in mouth. Okay, where the starch is going to form from the food with by the action of salivary amylase to form sugar, and this sugar could be in the form of the fructose or the it could be the complex sugar. It is a complex sugar. Half of the digestion means the digestion starts, the carbohydrate is getting digested. So here the carbohydrate digestion is started, but it is going to be completed inside the small intestine. So please remember, this is a partial digestion. Still the sugar which is being produced is a complex part. This is not going to be absorbed. Okay, please remember, this is not going to be absorbed. It has to be converted in the simpler forms, children. Please remember this. Now next, what is happening, the human saliva, it contains an enzyme which is said to be as the salivary amylase. And then what happens, the human it begins in the mouth. This salivation, the salivary amylase, and upon the action of this carbohydrate, which acts upon the carbohydrate, it takes place inside the mouth. Then the digestion of the starch begins in the mouth itself. Since the food remains in the mouth for a short time, so the digestion is incomplete. And yes, if we are eating this, in eating our food, it is not that we are continuously chewing only. We are just chewing it 20 to 25 times, and then it is being followed, or it is being moved into the food pipe, and with the food pipe it is moving inside the food pipe, and then it moves inside the stomach. Okay, so what happens, the digestion is going to be completed in the small intestine. So this digestion is incomplete. The complete digestion of this sugar is going to take place in the small intestine. Okay, we'll further read this. Then after that, the slight digestion in the mouth, which is being swallowed, is by the tongue, and it goes down into the food pipe, that is esophagus. The esophagus carries the food to the stomach. This happens as follows. The walls of the food pipe have a muscles which can contract and expand alternatively. Okay, then with the slight digested food, it enters inside the because of the action of this expansion and contraction, which I told you, this is said to be as a peristaltic movement. Okay, children, now next, this peristaltic movement is going to push the food inside. Okay, it is going to push the food inside the stomach. So this peristaltic movement, which is taking place because of the food pipe, which is present because of the movement of the muscles of the food pipe. Okay, now this peristaltic movement is going to push the food, is slightly digested food, into stomach. Now the next organ is the stomach. Okay, it is the stomach. Now children, please remember that no digestion is taking place in the stomach. Inside the stomach, what is happening then? Stomach is a organ that is a J-shaped organ. So what kind of organ is this stomach is? I'll just rub it and I'll write it again. So if I say that digestion was taking place inside the mouth, that was a partial digestion of the carbohydrate. Okay, so it is a partial digestion of carbohydrate, children. Then after that, what happens? Because of the partial digestion of carbohydrate, the complete digestion is going to take place inside the small intestine, where the other enzymes are going to be secreted from the various places, and then it is going to be, then what happens, it is going to be the action of these enzymes, the action of the various salivary juices. Not only the salivary amylase, there are various other enzymes which will be responsible for the development, I mean for the digestion of various parts. Okay, digestion of the various parts of the food or components of food. It could be protein digestion, it could be the digestion of the sugars, it could be the digestion of the fatty substances, oils which we are eating. Because we are eating variety of food, it is not only the carbohydrate which we are eating. There could be the various other sources of food also, and then it is going to be digested accordingly. According to that, the enzymes would be acting upon it. So what is a stomach? So we are reading about the stomach. Now inside the stomach, what happens? It is a J-shaped organ. How will you recognize the stomach? Stomach is a J-shaped organ. Okay, it is a J-shaped organ. Fine, if I draw like this, it is a J-shaped organ. This is our stomach. Actually, the stomach also has the various parts. Okay, it is also divided into various parts. Now what happens? It is a J-shaped organ which is present at the left side of the abdomen. Abdomen means the lower half of your body. Then the food is further digested in the stomach. The food is churned in the stomach. As such, no digestion, only mixing is going to take place. So churning happens. The next is churning. Churning of food happens. Okay, so this churning of food is this is a process by which the food is being churned, churned, inside the stomach for 3 hours. The stomach will contain the 3 tubular glands into it. These glands are present at the walls of stomach. Now, what is the walls of stomach? So this is the wall of stomach. Okay, this lining. This is said to be as the walls of stomach. This one. Wall of stomach. Similarly, this is also the wall of stomach. Okay. Now, there are various glands which are present over here. So, here the glands are present. Which glands are present? The glands which are going to secrete the various secretions, it is present. Okay. So, the gastric juice is being secreted. So, what is being secreted? The next is the gastric juice. Please remember, why I am writing the juice? Because it is a mixture of various enzymes. Okay, it is a mixture of various enzymes because it contains the mixture of various juices. That is why it is said to be as gastric juice. Here, which type of gland is present? Gastric gland is present. Gastric gland is present in the walls of the stomach. Now, the gastric juice contains 3 substances. Gastric juice contains, because it is a mixture of various chemicals, we could say it is a mixture of various chemicals. Now, what chemicals are there? There are three chemicals, 3 substances. 3 substances mein first one is the hydrochloric acid. It consists of hydrochloric acid, HCl, which is also known as, which is the strongest acid, which is one of the strong acid, among the strong acid, okay, HNO3, H2SO4 and HCl. So HCl is the hydrochloric acid which is present inside the stomach also, which is secreted from the walls of stomach. Now, some of the cells would be responsible for the secretion of HCl, other cells would be responsible for the secretion of the other substance, that is enzyme, pepsin, and the third is, second one, what it contains? The gastric juice contains 3 chemicals. So it contains 3 chemicals, 1, 2 and 3, and the last one is mucus. Okay, sometimes it is written MUCUS, here it is written MUCUS, both are correct. Okay, so mucus, it contains mucus, sometimes O is also written, no, there is no mistake. Okay, now here, this mucus, hydrochloric acid and pepsin. So each and every of these 3 chemicals are present in this gastric juice. If somebody has to write what is the mixture, what is the different components of which are present in the gastric juice, children, please remember gastric juice is a mixture of 3 chemicals. One is the hydrochloric acid, other one is the enzyme pepsin, and the next one is the mucus. Now, what are the various functions of each of them? Due to the presence of hydrochloric acid, the gastric juice is acidic in nature. So, what is the nature of this gastric juice? The nature is acidic. Now, why it is acidic? Because of the presence of this hydrochloric acid. Okay, so please remember. So we have studied that inside the mouth what type of digestion is taking place. It is the only sugar, it is the only carbohydrate which starts getting digested, and it is being converted in the form of the simple sugar, which is still incomplete, but still that simple sugar is again a big molecule. It is a complex molecule, it is a complex sugar. The complete digestion is going to take place inside the small intestine. Now, next organ, which was the stomach. Inside stomach, gastric glands are present, which the gastric gland is present at the walls of the stomach. Now, gastric gland is going to produce the gastric juice. This gastric juice is going to why it is said to be as juice? Because it is a mixture of 3 chemicals. First one is the hydrochloric acid, second one is the pepsin, third one is the mucus. So it is a mixture of these 3 things. Okay. Now, the mixture of these 3 things, it is said to be as the gastric gastric glands are going to give the activity of this. Fine. Now next thing, what is it? Next what you have to study is the this enzyme is going to work under the acidic condition because of the presence of this hydrochloric acid. Okay, this enzyme is going to begin the digestion of protein. So enzyme pepsin is going to digest protein. Okay, this helps in the digestion of protein. Salivary amylase is going to help in the digestion of the starch. Okay, then this enzyme pepsin is going to digest the proteins. Okay, now the next thing, the enzyme begins to digest, please remember, begins to digest the food proteins which is present inside the food into smaller molecules. Thus the protein digestion begins in the stomach, at the last part of the stomach, that is the three regions are there: first, half, second and the third region. So it starts from the third region. This middle portion is responsible only for the churning of the food. Churning of the food means the food begins to become a paste. Why it is called mechanical churning? Because the walls of the muscles of the stomach here, they are going to mix the food with the different components. It is going to be smashed, it is going to be churned, it is going to be formed, it is in the form of the thick paste, which is going to help in the process of the churning, and then this churning is responsible for the making of the food. It is going to convert that bolus into next paste like structure. After this churned food, when it is entered inside the intestine, it is going to be said to be as chyme. Okay, it is said to be as chyme, but still here the bolus is getting converted in the form of the paste. Okay, now the protein digestion begins at the stomach. Please do note that the protein digesting enzyme it is being activated in the presence of the acid. So that is why here hydrochloric acid is present. Now what is the function of hydrochloric acid? The function of hydrochloric acid is to kill the bacteria which is present inside us in the food, because its pH, the pH value of this acid, hydrochloric acid, is the pH of this is, it's acidic in nature and the pH is highly acidic in nature. So what is the pH of this hydrochloric acid? The pH of hydrochloric acid is highly acidic, that is 1 to 2 pH. It contains its pHs from 1 to 2. Okay, so what happens? This pH is going to be responsible for, it is so acidic that it is going to cause the killing of the bacteria. Fine. Now next what happens? The function of hydrochloric acid is that it gives acidic medium for the activity of this enzyme. So first function of hydrochloric acid is that it is going to kill the bacteria which is present in the food. Next, second thing what it has to do, it has to make the enzyme, it is going to make the give the acidic medium to the enzyme. Okay, it is going to give the acidic medium to the enzyme pepsin, which is responsible for the digestion of the protein. Okay, now the next thing is that the mucus, the third thing is mucus. Now what is the function of this mucus? Mucus is going to be secreted from the walls of the stomach, and this is going to be produced, this is going to be helpful, it is going to be helpful in the decreasing the action of this hydrochloric acid, because when it is decreasing the action of hydrochloric acid, which means that hydrochloric acid is a very strong acid. So this, if the walls of stomach is not covered, so here what happens, it is being covered with mucus. The complete wall is lubricated with the help of mucus. Mucus is a very sticky substance which is going to decrease the action of this hydrochloric acid. It is going to decrease the action. Please remember, it is going to decrease the action of hydrochloric acid. Once it is decreasing the action of hydrochloric acid, then what happens? It is going to protect the walls of stomach from the action of this strong acid. So if this mucus is not present, then what happens? The strong acid could corrode the walls of the stomach. So this could corrode the walls of the stomach. Now if the walls of the stomach is being corroded, then what happens? It is going to form ulcer, or it is also said to be as peptic ulcer. So then peptic ulcer would be caused. So please remember that the mucus is helpful. It is going to help in the protection of, it helps in protecting, it protects the walls of stomach. Okay, by the action of HCl, because it is highly acidic, which kills the bacteria. So what are the two functions of hydrochloric acid? First one is to kill the bacteria, second one is to provide acidic medium through this enzyme pepsin, okay, for the which starts the digestion of protein. Then next is that it is going to protect the mucus. The function of mucus is to protect the walls of stomach by the action of this hydrochloric acid. So children, this was about the digestion of food inside the mouth, where starch is getting started digesting, and the next was the digestion of the next was the digestion of what? Digestion of the proteins inside the stomach. The walls of stomach is going to produce hydrochloric acid, enzyme pepsin, and mucus. Have three different functions. Hydrochloric acid is going to kill the bacteria and also activates the enzyme pepsin. Secondly, the pepsin enzyme starts the digestion of protein. Thirdly, this mucus is going to protect the walls of stomach. So this was about a part of digestion in the stomach as well as in the mouth. Okay, and it also helps in mechanical churning. So children, that was all about today's video about the digestion. I'll continue with the same topic in the next class also. So with this, your today's class is complete. I'll come up with another video with the same topic to be discussed in the next class. Okay, so that's all for today.